Samsung One. UI 8.5 is coming into focus, and we've been hands-on with an early internal build to see exactly what Samsung is changing, refining, and reimagining for Galaxy phones and tablets. And while One UI 8.5 isn't officially released yet, and some reports even suggest a wider rollout could slip into 2026, leaked test builds for the Galaxy S25 Ultra are already circulating. These builds are clearly unfinished and a bit unstable, but they're functional enough to reveal a bold visual refresh, deeper customization, and a few controversial tweaks that may affect usability. Other reports tie the stable One UI 8.5 release to the Galaxy S26 series, with a beta program rumored for the near term, though timelines remain unconfirmed and subject to change. Let's start with the biggest headline: design. One UI 8.5 leans heavily into a modern, glass-like aesthetic with polished translucency, softer backgrounds, and subtle depth, an approach that mirrors broader industry trends and feels inspired by Apple's latest iOS design language. Across the UI, Samsung is dialing down oversaturation, boosting legibility, and introducing cleaner visual hierarchy. Quick settings tiles, for instance, now feature thin outlines that help separate each tile from the background, making it easier to quickly spot the setting you want, especially when a toggle is off. One of the most noticeable changes, and one that might divide fans, is the removal of text labels beneath bottom navigation icons in several Samsung apps. The gallery and phone apps, among others, now rely on iconography alone in the bottom bar. Minimalists may appreciate the cleaner look, but longtime One UI users could find it less straightforward. It's a classic case of aesthetics versus explicit usability, and it's clear Samsung is willing to experiment with the formula that helped make One UI widely approachable. Now, the Quick Panel. In One UI 8.5, the Quick Panel becomes dramatically more customizable and dynamic. You can move controls, widgets, and sliders wherever you want, orient volume and brightness horizontally or vertically, and even collapse the panel down to an ultra-minimal footprint. Leaks also show the option to decouple the brightness and volume sliders, as well as separate the Wi-Fi and Bluetooth controls, something you can't do in current One UI versions. There are strong hints you'll be able to resize individual quick settings tiles too, similar to new capabilities in Android 16. Combined with the toned-down background colors and tile outlines, the Quick Panel feels more adaptive, more readable, and more personal than ever. The Gallery app gets a bold redesign. Button targets are larger, spacing is improved, and the top section no longer just shows an album name over a plain background. Instead, it surfaces a live preview of your most recent photo or video in that album. The result is more visual, more informative, and just more fun to browse. It's a clear nod to the way people actually navigate media, by recognition and context, not just labels. The Camera app looks familiar at first glance, but Samsung has reorganized its settings to be easier to understand and faster to tweak. Video options now sit behind clearer menus with separate toggles for key controls, including HDR, log, audio options, and dual recording. Watermark tools and motion photo settings have also been refined. At this stage, we aren't seeing headline-grabbing new camera features, but the house cleaning is welcome and should reduce the friction of setup before you shoot. System-wide, One UI 8.5 smooths out motion, spacing, and layout density. The Settings app presents more rounded corners, roomier touch targets, and cleaner transitions. The search bar in Settings has moved to the bottom, putting an essential tool closer to your thumb and encouraging more frequent use. The battery menu has been redesigned with fresh components, and Samsung is making a bolder change in the status bar. The classic battery icon is replaced by a clean percentage readout. The charging animation from One UI 7 remains unchanged. When the battery is low, the percentage turns red, and when power-saving mode kicks in, the icon transforms into a subtle leaf. The My Files app also benefits from practical refinements. There's now a search box at the bottom for quicker access, and the main screen highlights important areas, like recent files and internal storage, against a softly blurred, glass-like background that fits the new visual language. Samsung is even embracing a friendlier Easter egg moment of its own. It's not hidden away. Head into Settings, open Software Update, and you'll find a splash image with the One UI version. From there, the Check for Updates button lies at the bottom, and additional options, like Auto Download over Wi-Fi, are available via the More menu at the top. Despite the polish, not everything is landing at once. The early build we tested is missing several rumoured features, including tap-to-share files over NFC, and new AI tools like Meeting Assist and automated product review generation. Given the development stage, it's reasonable to expect Samsung to slot these in as One UI 8.5 progresses from alpha to beta to stable. On timing, the picture is still fluid. There have been persistent leaks about an open beta, unusual for a mid-cycle One UI update, potentially arriving by the end of the month, though Samsung hasn't officially announced a start date, and the typical pre-beta indicators haven't fully appeared. Internally, Samsung has reportedly moved from CK7 test builds, with beta builds expected to carry ZEX identifiers. Some reports linked the stable One UI 8.5 release to the Galaxy S26 series, and even mentioned a reschedule to early March, while others suggest the launch timeline won't be delayed after all. It's clear Samsung continues to refine the software internally, and supporters with access to test builds say stability is improving to the point where a public beta feels close, if Samsung decides to pull the trigger. There's also a battery story to watch. Strings of code discovered in One UI 8.5 point to a new feature called Network Battery Saver. The idea is simple and smart. If your Galaxy determines you're not actively using your phone, say, while you're sleeping, it can limit network activity to reduce idle drain and stretch standby time. To make those decisions, Samsung leans on personal data intelligence, an on-device AI system that learns your usage patterns and builds a private knowledge graph of behaviors. This AI already powers suggestions and enhanced experiences across the OS, including features like Now Brief. And in One UI 8.5, it appears to inform network throttling during likely downtime. One of the strings spells it out clearly. Save battery by limiting network performance when your phone isn't likely to be used, such as when you're sleeping. If implemented well, this could deliver a measurable boost to overnight and idle battery life without sacrificing responsiveness. When you pick up the phone, tipsters are also revealing more fine-grained UI changes. In the quick settings area, Taran Vats, for example, shared screenshots on X showing the new tile outlines and less saturated backdrops that make the panel easier on the eyes. The visual direction dovetails with Samsung's broader shift toward a refined, glass-forward interface, positioning One UI 8.5 as a substantial visual evolution rather than a feature-stuffed overhaul. And that's the theme across the build we tested. Fewer brand-new tricks at first, more thoughtful redesigns, smarter defaults, and customization where it counts.